There's much you must understand when our loved ones go to heaven. Here's an expert that's going to talk to us about how to handle it. Giddy up. Welcome everyone to the Your Little Castle Show. I love what I get to do because I get to talk to experts for things I hadn't even thought about that like exist that you got to take care of and you got to deal with. But our expert here today has been doing this for quite a while, and he's got 22 years experience in the military. So give a welcome here to our guest. Make sure his titles come up. There we go. Welcome to the studio, Chuck Collier.
Well, thank you.
Well, Dawn called me before this interview, and she said, this is kind of a unique perspective, and you have a background and history with roofing and construction, and then before that, 22 years in our military. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Scott Air Force Base, a lot of our friends we know that over there. I've done some events there, some charity fundraising, Little Patriots Embraced over there. But there's another, everybody's going to run into this, it seems, where end of life for the loved ones, and then how do you handle that? How do you manage that? How do you deal with it? How do you plan for it?
Right.
And you can't find a niche here that wasn't being addressed and say, hey, I've got a solution for a big problem that's coming around.
I did. And I would say that that solution is Colvent Group. And again, we've been working in the trust industry for approximately 12 years now after I retired out of the military. And we were able to, I was able to create, after my brother I'd put him through law school.
Okay.
And so that's how it found me. So I really didn't find it. Okay. But the issue, I guess the issue surrounding how I did this is, after he graduated from law school, he got into the trust industry. And while doing that, I would ask him questions. He's my brother, so we would chat, and I'd ask him, well, what's your pain point? What's getting you? And he said homes. He said it's just tough, really tough, to deal with homes because he was in one state and he had homes in 50 states. And so that was very difficult for them to manage. And so, looking back and looking now, I've got like 3,500 contractors across the states.
Wow.
So that's my list. It's a Chuck list, I guess, if you want to call it, not in Angie's list, but it's Chuck list. So
the Chuck list.
There you go. And so the thought is that I was able to take my business background, MBA, my military experience in maintaining aircraft, and bring that to the construction industry. And I became a contractor after I retired as well. So you're kind of looking for that niche after retirement, and when you find it, like we were talking about before, I did corporate America for 6 months, 8 months. It just wasn't me. It just wasn't me. And so, when you find what you're looking for, and we're all still looking for whatever that is, I think. But for the most part, I found that niche, and that is helping folks with trusts that have, and not only the folks, but banks, trust companies, with the home side of the asset portfolio. And with that being said, we are able to now reach out to our contractors, and we can do whole home remodels. We're able to do, widen doorways, things of that nature. And it comes with that, I would say it comes with that, the knowledge and the expertise that I've gained of walking into a 1950s home where, grandma has now aged out.
Right.
And how do you widen that door? What is the plan? And that's a hard thing to put together, and to be able to not only put together but enact. And like we said in the military, execute, right? You plan and you develop, and then you execute the plan. So, and then you follow up, and accountability as well. that's been the key to, I would say, the success, because there was nobody in my knowledge that was doing this when I started. Now there are a couple out there, I call them competition, I guess, if you want to say that, but
Right.
it's not a widely known industry. You don't see it on billboards, but at the same time, when I got my roofing license a few years ago, I started working, in Illinois, and doing roofs, and it a little tougher than I thought. The military is one thing for leadership, and then when you come to, you make that transition, you're like, I've already developed one company. How do I do this? Oh, this should be easy, right? Well, right. And it's
You're dealing
not.
with a different genre, different industries.
Exactly. Even though we perform like 15 roofs a month, or excuse me, a year, throughout the states, that project management piece is easy for me. Actually running a business and then starting another business found to be a little bit challenging post-pandemic. Folks just weren't, I guess, as loyal.
Yeah, I'll say when I said that, my comment earlier was essentially like military people, like they're in there, they're doing what they're told. Civilians, not so much. It's a little different.
Correct. It's a little different. But, then you just, adapt and overcome and do what you got to do, and able to make it happen. And in my industry now, in the truss industry, we work with about 30 plus banks across the states, and so
Wow.
we're able to take on a portfolio of somewhere around 1,200 houses right now. But we're
Okay.
not property managers, but we look like property managers, but we're not, because most of these homes are paid in cash.
Right.
So there's no rents to take in,
Right.
and there's just a house to take care of.
I understand the strategy. Let me give a shout out to our sponsors. We appreciate Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in a house that maybe our guest here Chuck has helped you with, because you got to have nice furniture in these places too. And there's lots of furniture goes, especially these older houses, very large. And I was talking about it from my own personal experience. We've got a house in Fayette, Missouri, 12-foot ceilings, 10-foot doors, and just constant maintenance. My mom told me the bill every month, every year, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot to put into something. So I've helped her to rent it and we've got a side property that has apartments, and make something work with that. But Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle that maybe Chuck has helped you to maintain here. And they do good work around the country here now, with 3,500 contractors you've put in around the world for that. So let's pull up your website here. You've got an informational page and a Facebook page, and help everybody kind of jump in here. But the Colvert, it's going to pop up on me. Change, waiting for it. I'll go ahead and force it. There we go. The Colvert Group was your idea.
Colvent, yeah.
I'm sorry, Colvent. Yeah, make sure.
And that happened. But as we talked about, post-COVID, I've been doing this for 12 years, and then this happened to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, and so it's my first three letters of my last name.
Okay.
And then Ventures.
I got you.
So after my MBA, I started a company.
Colvent. Don't mess it up. If I mess it up, then now they'll remember.
You're good.
It. I had a guy. His name that was an easier one, but Colvent Group, homes, vehicles. Colvent Group.
Correct.
And because you help people with both their homes. Vehicles, the second most valuable asset people have, and
Exactly.
and that's something that gets put into trust and has to
Exactly.
be managed as well. Well, tell me what is it that led you here specifically? You talked about how you were talking to your brother about this. Is that really where this came from?
That's how.
And
that's
then
how
you literally were like, okay, and he said, this is where a problem, and you said, I'm going to fix this problem.
wrap the business model around it. And so I was able to. I guess I'll take it back a little further than that. In the military, we were using digital cameras before anybody in the civilian world was.
Really?
That's just the way it was. Yeah, everything's derived from the technology that comes out of that, right? And so thoughts, internet, all the above. And so the thoughts are that, we had been fixing airplanes across the pond. We call it the pond.
All right.
But the ocean, and for years and years and years, late 90s, mid 90s. So, not really a big deal. And so now I'm able to look at pictures, and everybody's got a phone, we all have cameras.
Right.
We're used to looking at pictures, but when you know what you're looking at, then that makes the difference. And that's how we're able to oversee a lot of this with site visits and things. We're able to go out there and, I spend a lot of time on airplanes. So,
Right.
for instance, tomorrow I'll be in Atlanta.
Okay.
And we are overseeing for a young child who has special needs in a wheelchair. And we're probably taking, I think the house is about 10,000 square feet right now. And we're going to turn it into a 14,000 square foot home.
Wow.
With an elevator and all that. That's what we're used to doing.
Okay.
Now that's a large project.
Right.
Most of our projects are door widening. If a person's aging in place, we're able to help them stay in their home. That's key to, I would say, like my dad's generation, which is the baby boomers.
Right.
And so we're able to help them do that, whether it's local, in Missouri, Illinois, name a state and we're there. So, and with that, my military experience with my education, and it just seemed like, don't want to go off topic here, but as an aircraft maintenance officer, we were responsible for buildings, like our own buildings, things of that nature. When we would deploy, somehow it just got stuck with us, kind of the flycatcher. But when you're overseeing large projects, it kind of ingrains. And I'm from Virginia, so originally, and so it all that construction stuck, because that's what I started doing out of high school before I joined the military.
And military background, you're assembling new construction in the middle of the desert.
Oh yeah. Well,
wherever,
from
scratch.
Wasn't me, but we were overseeing, and you have to know where your hangar is going to go. You have to know, all that
Right.
has to happen. But there were some hardened shelters, things of that nature that were necessary, and it's part of the planning piece.
And all of that led up to the Colvent group, everybody.
Correct.
Well, I appreciate that. Tell me then, what is your passion as related to this? This became something you obviously have a passion for.
I do.
And it's turned into a career.
I do.
What is it that drives you every day?
Helping those young kids that are in wheelchairs.
Okay.
Literally, I mean that's a hard thing to say, but somebody's got to be there for them and to provide that oversight and expertise to be able to make their home accessible. A lot of these folks, and I say folks being the parents, never had anything in their life, and then they come into money, and this money is overseen by a bank, and with that they need somebody to help them, because anything is better than where they usually came from.
Right.
And so we're able to take that house that maybe wasn't the perfect house for a wheelchair to help them remodel that into a home that's good for the child at that point. And sometimes it's not the children; it's an actual person that's been in a construction accident, that have brain injuries. Nurse care managers that oversee the actual health and care and the nursing that's necessary for these folks. So it's a learned passion. It's a learned, I guess, trade now. And then I've taken that, and I do have my license in Illinois, and I've taken that over to Illinois and trying to do some local work as well. So, and we're really looking for that aging in place piece. And I guess that passion has, where it comes from is, I don't sit still, never did, never can.
Right.
Just that's just the middle. I don't know if it's the military in me or
Right.
it's just me. Just the grass doesn't grow between my feet, my toes, right? So, yeah.
Well, you've definitely carved out a niche here, because as I think about it, you've got a family who's worked for a long time and been saving money away, putting stuff into a trust, and then you've got the beneficiaries of the trust.
Correct.
And sometimes you get special needs and related, but who's the one that actually implements the strategy to use the trust and to put in place for these kids that have the needs, or even for the trust, the beneficiaries of the trust? How does this get facilitated? And when you've got a house that's now 30 years older and hasn't
Correct.
been updated or maintained, you come in to help manage all of that.
Correct. When they can't, when the actual beneficiaries can't do that, that's where we step in. Now, a lot of times, if a trust is local, they send their trust officers out to help with the home, but they're not contractors. You know, sometimes they rely on their local contractors in the area, and I get that. But if they've got a house in Nebraska and they're in St. Louis, how do they do that?
Right.
That's where I really come in.
And you've developed that network to
Develop the
manage,
network, correct.
take care of all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Great feedback, great information for our guests here. If you ever get involved with the trust, I've had to deal with some of that a little bit myself. My mom was preparing for all of this. These are things that must be considered, especially what you do afterwards. Hadn't thought about that.
Right.
But very important. Stay tuned here, everybody. We're going to show you a little bit more about what we're doing in the community. We've got a lot of community leaders doing fun stuff. So take a look here at some of what our involvement here most recently. Check it out.
Okay.
Hey everybody, it's John Fogarty.
Thank you.
You're kind of a musician on the side, right?
Yeah, I'm going to sing a little bit later today, but not until after the golf.
Right. Summit, great organization. We love you guys. Great interview we had.
Yeah, we had a great time on the podcast.
That was fun, man. That aired on ABC about 6 months ago.
Yeah, probably 6 months ago. It was right fall, I think. So
Okay.
maybe a little more.
Well, you guys do good work. Tell me why you love this event here. You're supporting Will.
Yeah, so we'll be inspired golf tournament. Veterans, first responders, 100% everything goes right back into it. So always support the best and try to take care of ours and take care of us. Thank you guys.
That's awesome. There we go. All right, everybody. We'll be back for more. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up. So if you're looking to get a coin made, these guys will custom make a coin for you. There's one of the Cardinal Cowboy, but this is a real coin. And a lot of what they do. But hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of our community outreach there and the stuff we're doing. Working with great organizations. We'll be inspired PTSD and stuff right up. You probably know some people who've been through some of that, and we want to show support for those who are supporting us. But let's do a quick cost analysis. I can only imagine there's a lot that goes into this, and now you're not just dealing. Typically, we're having an expert talk about how they fix a damaged house or a restoration or something that's gone. A storm has come through, but you're more than that because it's a couple things. First off, there may not have been a storm come through, which is routine maintenance that hasn't been maintained.
Right.
But you also then have to deal with the bank, the trust,
Correct.
and how do you work with them using the funds, or how does that work so that you can help people to get make sure they're covered.
Most times the banks are coming to me, and the trusts are coming to me because they have a need in that area.
Okay.
And when they come to me, they're looking for an actual full-scale plan. Like, how can this beneficiary in a wheelchair be able to not only function today in this house, but we look at it 15 years from now. Because when some of our beneficiaries are in they're 6, and they're still growing, and so they're in a wheelchair today.
Right.
May be able to fit through a 30-inch door right now, but in 12 years from now, they won't.
Right.
And so the thought is we go to that next level, to where that house is a durable asset, a usable asset, and the cost analysis. I would never say it's a sunk cost, because it's not. It is a cost for that benefit of that beneficiary, and so when they spend the money, it is to make that the betterment of the life of that child or that beneficiary that's in the home.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot coming together here because there's so much. I can just imagine, especially in this kind of situation for a kid with special needs.
Correct.
I call super abilities, actually. If you
Right.
think about some of these kids, they've been through so much. I was giving a speech, and a gal who I had walked her down the red carpet, she had 23 surgeries. And so I talk about somebody who's got superpowers, but they do need support. And so how do you get that facilitated? And if you don't know where to go, that's where your group,
Correct.
Colvent group, will come in.
Correct. And whether it's most, when you talk about a 1950s home that needs to be, updated, remodeled, not only remodeled, but, augmented to an ADA status, we're talking, upwards of $50,000, $60,000, $75,000. And so that's what the benefit of that trust is the result, is a home that they can live in. And then on the vehicle side, we assist with purchasing the vehicles as well. Writing insurance, making sure lien holder information, titling, things of that nature. Things that the trust get overwhelmed with because they've got thousands of clients.
Yeah.
They've got a team of people that do the actual work, the administration piece, but they need, we all need help, right? And so with that in mind, we're there to be a strategic partner with the trust. We are there to assist them with, with the things they get overwhelmed with, and homes are a big one. Like I was saying, my brother, he used words that he's like, I do not like this, right? Except they were a little bit more flavorful. I do not like doing the homes because I don't understand the piece, And so now, with my contractors, we have that relationship with them where, if it's a challenging client, where they're, they may have anxiety, they may not answer the door, my folks won't give up on me. They come back, they understand. We're like, hey, we'll get them next week. How's that?
Wow.
And then once we build that trust, then they're able to, then it, softens up, and then, it may take us longer to do the job, but, in the end, the job is going to get done. It's going to get done right, and that's the key.
Well, yeah, there's a lot that goes into this. We've all heard the horror stories with regard to if you don't have a trust. These are people who have taken the time to implement a trust. Now it just needs to be applied appropriately,
Right.
And especially for anybody that does have a child with special needs.
True. Oh, absolutely.
They've spent their life saving up to be able to help their child with this. I can think of a couple friends of the family that I know where literally, like, when they go to heaven, their child who still needs special needs help.
Correct.
Somebody's going to have to facilitate that. That's kind of what you help to do.
That's what we do.
Okay.
We sure do.
Tell me then, I guess there's not, you mentioned in the first half of the show, there's not a whole lot of other guys doing this, but why would somebody use you versus, I guess, not using you? And a lot of people, they don't realize what you bring to the table.
Communication.
Okay.
That's what the trust needs. If I'm a strategic partner with them, they want communication. They want to know, they have a fiduciary responsibility, and so I don't take on that role as fiduciary, but I take on a responsibility to that trust to make sure that it's done correctly, and that's where that's the difference, is that accountability. On my coin, integrity, service, and excellence. I got it ingrained from the military, from the Air Force, but it's true, and that's the standard that I hold myself to. That's and the 25 folks that work for me. So, we've come a long way. 1,200, about 1,200 houses across the nation.
Wow.
That we take care of, and we can do that local. We can, do that wherever we need to. So, we've developed that list, like I was talking about.
Well, there's just one of those caveats on our little planet for something you don't realize it's something that people are going to have to deal with. And it's a very large impact because you're talking about the entire trust that somebody has developed and worked for, saved for their entire life, only to be thrown upon their children now who have to manage this. And if they need special care, then there's always people in there going, "Oh yeah, we'll help you. We'll take that money."
Of course.
And so wherever there's money, there's people that will take advantage. But
Absolutely.
you're saying you help to facilitate this and put everything in order so that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then tell me, what is the biggest mistake that people often make? Is it that they don't use your services?
Yeah.
Or there's people that should know about you, and they try to take this on their own, and then they end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money?
A lot of money. Got a call about 2 weeks ago from a trust company, not local, but it was for a house in Pennsylvania. Home was built in the 1800s. The contractor took about $16,000 and didn't come back. My guys don't do that. I make sure my guys don't do that.
Right.
And that's not a military thing, but it is a accountability piece that they understand me, and they understand how I work, and they understand the standards that I live by. And so that's not the first one that's happened. I've probably had, I would say in the 12 years, probably 5 or 6 that have said, in the $14,000, $15,000 range, hey, they took the money and ran. And then I do an assessment on the house, and I'm like, well, what did these guys do? And nothing. They took your money. But I don't blame the trust officer. I don't blame them, because they're not contractors. They're not accustomed to doing that, And so now that these folks are in this house, we immediately, and when I say immediately, like day 2, figured out that that there was an electrical issue.
Wow. Lots to deal with here, everybody. We got an expert. We're going to have another half-hour discussion here with our friend. Stay tuned for more, everybody. Giddy up.